Welcome to the Chemistry, Biology and Math Revision Hub. Today we are doing the biology topics. This is living organisms. We're going to be talking about classification and so on. So we begin by talking about the differences between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes, like bacteria, are single-celled organisms and they have no nucleus. Their DNA is free-floating within the cell. Eukaryotes, on the other hand, have a true nucleus that encloses their genetic material. Eukaryotes can either be single-celled or multicellular, and they include animals, plants, fungi, and protists, or sometimes called protists. Eukaryotes do have membrane-bound organelles which perform several functions within the cells. So we're going to begin by talking about plants. Plants are eukaryotic organisms, and they are autotrophic. This means they produce their own food through photosynthesis. They have specialized structures like chloroplasts, which contain the pigment chlorophyll, and this is going to be used to trap sunlight for photosynthesis to occur. Plant cells are made up of rigid cell walls made out of cellulose. Cellulose provides structural support. Plants do store their carbohydrate as starch. Examples of plants include the flowering plants like roses, trees like oak, grasses like wheat, and they play a crucial role in ecosystems as primary producers because they convert solar energy into chemical energy that is used by other organisms as a source of energy. Next we go to animals. This is another group of eukaryotic organisms. Animals are heterotrophic. This means they rely on consuming other organisms for energy. They have specialized cells and tissues that form organs as well as organ systems, and this enables them to perform complex functions. Functions could be movement, digestion, sensation, and so on. All animals are multicellular organisms, and they do not contain chloroplasts. That means they're not photosynthetic. Like we saw already, they're just heterotrophic. They do not have a cell wall that enables them to change their shape to allow the movement and other bodily functions. Animals do store their carbohydrate as glycogen. Examples of animals include mollusks. This could be a sea in some languages. Mollusks, worms, insects, crustaceans, mammals, fish, amphibians, reptile, birds, and more. This animal kingdom, of course, includes vertebrates and invertebrates, and among the listed organisms above, the vertebrates include mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, as well as fish. These do have a backbone. And invertebrates include mollusks, worms, insects, and so on, those that do not have a backbone. Next, we go to fungi. This is another example of eukaryotic organisms. They could be unicellular like yeast or multicellular like mushroom. Fungi do not contain chlorophyll and therefore they do not carry out photosynthesis. This means they have to get their source of energy from consuming other substances. That is why they carry out saprophytic nutrition, and during this process they release digestive enzymes onto the food, and then external digestion takes place. The nutrients are going to be absorbed into the cell so that they get a source of energy. Fungal cells do have a cell wall, and this is made out of chitin. And inside fungal cells, there are glycogen granules for the storage of glycogen as a carbohydrate source. Some fungi, like molds, do contain networks of hyphae. These are for the absorption of nutrients from dead organisms. Fungi play essential roles in ecosystems as decomposers because they break down dead organic material and in the recycling of nutrients. They also have significant economic and medical importance because they are used in food production, medicine production, as well as in biotechnological research. This is an example of a fungal cell. We can see there is a nucleus. Of course, this is eukaryotic. There is a vacuole. We see the cytoplasm, the cell surface membrane, as well as a cell wall made out of chitin. So a typical fungal cell is almost similar to an animal cell, but the difference is we do not have a cell wall, but they do have a cell wall. And the vacuole found in animal cells is not that big, because in animal cells there are temporary vacuoles. Next we go to Protists, or sometimes called Protists. This is a diverse group of eukaryotic organisms that do not fit into the other kingdoms. They can be unicellular or multicellular. They exhibit characteristics of plants, animals, or fungi. For example, algae like Chlamydomonas, like this one here. These are photosynthetic protists. They are similar to plants in some characteristics, while others like amoeba are more like animals, moving and engulfing food. Some, like molds, resemble fungi in their decomposing habits. Protists live in various environments, usually in water, where they play very important roles in the ecosystem as producers in aquatic ecosystems. Like we said here, these are mainly found in ponds or in pond water. Some of them are pathogenic, like we see the Plasmodium, which causes malaria. Next, we go to bacteria. These are prokaryotic organisms that can be found in almost every environment on Earth. They can be found in the soil, in water, in extreme environments like hot springs, as well as acidic environments. They have a simple cell structure and there is no nucleus. Their DNA is a single circular chromosome, like we can see here. Examples of bacteria include E. coli. This is a type of bacteria found in the intestine of humans as well as animals. Bacteria can also be beneficial. Examples include those involved in nitrogen fixation as well as the gut bacteria, but some are also disease-causing, like Streptococcus pneumoniae that causes pneumonia. Lastly, we go to viruses. Viruses are unique because they are not considered living organisms. Actually, they're just particles that are smaller in comparison to bacteria. They consist of genetic material, which could be DNA or RNA, which is enclosed in a protein coat, like we can see here. This is the genetic material, that is the protein coat, and we can see this is the virus we're talking about. The other components are basically helping in the infection process as the virus injects its own genetic material into the host cell. Viruses cannot reproduce on their own. They must infect a host cell and hijack its machinery in order to replicate, meaning producing more genetic material as well as other proteins that are going to be used as the protein coat for the new viral particles that are going to be produced from that cell. Some viruses can be pathogenic while others may not be. This depends on which organism we're talking about. For example, for humans, we have the influenza virus, which causes flu. We have the HIV virus, which causes AIDS. We have the coronavirus, which causes COVID-19. But other viruses may be used in biology, more so in medicine, because of their ability to infect organisms. They can be used in biological research. So this brings us to the end of this video talking about the variety of living organisms. Thank you for being with us. Do not forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.